World champion. She's here to take her title back. Coach Bella Caroli expects nothing less. Last year's American Cup, Betty OKINO exploded on the world scene. She even looked the part of a determined champion. Invincible, she won the crown. But what a year it's been. Series of injuries has lowered her star. She still aims for Barcelona, but today she watches from home. Last year, Kim Zmeskal was in turmoil. There was a crisis of confidence, injuries, frayed relations with Coach Caroli, but she overcame those hurdles to become the first ever American woman to win a world all-around championship. As always, a new sensation waits in the wings. At 14, Shannon Miller is shy and vulnerable. Today, we'll see if her time has come. Not part of the Caroli machine, Shannon glows at the realistic thought of winning her first American Cup. Hungarian Henrietta Onodi may well surprise in Barcelona. Momentum from a win on American soil could propel her to a medal. And 17-year-old Svetlana Kozlova may well be Russia's secret weapon at the Olympics. The magic of the 5 rings. The journey continues today from Orlando. Beautiful Central Florida, Orlando. The Orlando Arena just a few weeks ago, the site of the NBA All-Star Game, and today it's the elite stars of gymnastics in the 17th Annual American Cup. Hello, everyone. 19 countries represented, and it's boiled down today in the final competition. The top 8 men, the top 8 women vying for the gold medal in this competition. It all gives us a chance to make some evaluations as we look ahead to Barcelona. And on the women's side, perhaps the American competitors in this sport have never been so strong nor so deep, and you're going to see an example of that today. We welcome Elke Schlegel, Elfie from Canada, an Olympian, a national champion, and of course Tim Daggett, our veteran commentator in gymnastics. And Elfie, as you look at the young women, of course Kim Zmeskal initially the world champion, how does this competition shape up for you?
Well, the competition is definitely shaping up between a battle between Kim Zmeskal and Shannon Miller. These two have looked very strong in the qualification competition. However, Kim has had some slight problems with her ankles. It'll be interesting to see how she fares in today's competition. She's a very tough competitor, and I'm sure she'll put that past her. She has a lot of experience, and she thrives on competition. Shannon, on the other hand, her coach Steve Nuno came up to us just moments before the competition to inform us that Shannon has had a slight hamstring pull. You can see that he's stretching her out there. So Shannon is looking to be in the top here at the American Cup. She has never been in the finals before, and she feels that today's her day.
All right, now let's go to the men's, and we've had an exciting moment already here in Orlando. Scott Keswick, they call him the King of Rings. He's won the national championship 3 times in that event, has just scored his first ever perfect 10, Tim Daggett.
And that's right. Scott tried to make a liar out of me a little earlier. I said Scott took himself out of the competition with a mistake on floor exercise. No mistakes here at all. He is so strong. Look at that. A back roll right to a cross and pulls out of it. On the still rings, it's critical to not just do the requirements of the strength skills, but to be extra strong, and he'll show us one more strength part. But of course, still rings is more than just strength, Dick. You have to show tremendous swing right through that handstand, and if you're going to get a 10, you got to stick the dismount, and it's a big one. 2 twists, 2 flips, double twist, and he rocks the landing.
The 22-year-old UCLA star. He's from Las Vegas, Nevada. He scored 10th in the all-around in the world competition in Indianapolis. Scott Keswick, and that's the first 10 in this competition in 12 years since Kurt Thomas scored the perfect 10 in the high bar in 1980. Now we go live into the third rotation of 4 for the women, and this is the lovely Hungarian 17-year-old Henrietta Onodi on the uneven bars.
Henrietta is very strong on this event, Dick. You'll find that she does such a variety of skills, and she does not ignore the low bar, and that's important because today in the competition, the girls often just use the low bar as just a transition to get back up to the high bar.
Done her first major release skill at Ginger, and there's her second release, a Jaeger salto.
And what's important here is Henrietta's release skills. Where she will be deducted is she does not quite show enough amplitude on these skills. You can't take anything away from her in this routine. The form is impeccable. Her dismount, the flyweight double back.
17-year-old Nona D, considered the best Hungarian gymnast in the last decade. She's been #1 for her country for the past 4 years. A little step on the dismount.
Before we move over to men's vault.
In this rotation, the men are on the vault, and the current leader after 3 rotations, Jared Hanks of the United States, is up next. There's Hanks, who has really come out of nowhere, and that has to give the men's depth in their future a big boost.
Well, it certainly does. He just won our recent Winter Nationals in Colorado Springs. That was his first major win in his career, and he's right on track to come home with an American Cup title. But there is a tremendous talent, a young Russian star named Dmitry Karbonenko, who is so powerful on this next event that we'll be looking at. So Hanks has got to show us a great vault.
There's the 18-year-old Karbonenko, trains in Moscow. He grew up on the Baltic Sea, and he does something very special, does he not? Anoti's score is being posted, 9.825 for Anoti, who is in the top 4 into this rotation.
Jared Hanks.
And Dick, the critical thing in a competition like the American Cup for Jared Hanks, he has got to stick the landing. It comes down to an excellent push off the horse, and he better spot that ground because his feet can't move when they touch it. Good push, and a little bit short. Oh, he really has to struggle for that landing. He almost sat down. That would have been a disaster at this point.
And Scott Keswick, who had scored the 10 in the rings in the vault just a few moments ago, didn't land cleanly. Had a major deduction, and Keswick might have taken himself out of chances for the gold today.
Now, from this angle, you'll see that he needs an excellent push, but doesn't have enough rotation to get it around and has to take 2 big steps back. Actually almost bumps into the horse there. That's going to be a severe deduction.
Notice that in men's vault, things are a bit different. The horse is, of course, changed. And the men
As the rotations develop, the men and women alternate, and it's difficult to really measure where they stand, although Hanks needed only an 8.8 to go into first place after 4 rotations. He earns a 9.45, but Karbonenko is yet to vault, and he has the kind of material in his arsenal, does the young Russian, that could score up in the 9.9s or even better.
Yeah, the most difficult vault being done in the world. He actually does a triple on the vaulting.
Kim Zmeskal, you're looking at her live, the world champion. She and Shannon Miller battled last night in the qualifying, and Shannon Miller, for the first time ever in their head-to-head competition, defeated the 16-year-old Zmeskal. They go head-to-head today. They're looking ahead to the 3rd rotations. Let's take you back to the vault. We're going to go to the bars. I'm being corrected now. The uneven bars, the 2nd rotation. And this is Shannon Miller, who is just slightly behind Zmeskal after the 1st rotation.
Dick, if there was one event where Shannon Miller could take the lead, it would be this event. That is because she is the silver medalist in the world on this apparatus. She is outstanding. Now you'll see a lot of release skills. In fact, most of the girls at this level of competition will perform at least 2 release skills. There's Shannon's 2nd, perfectly done. She has such beautiful form. You can see her legs are glued together. A super tough dismount, full twisting double back, and perfect landing.
And her score, 9.937. Well earned. So that puts some pressure on Zmeskal, as they were in a virtual deadlock for first place. So let's go now to Zmeskal's routine.
Kim Zmeskal.
The pressure is definitely on Kim. This is not her best event, but she has improved greatly, mostly in the area of her amplitude in her release skills. And you'll see that right here.
Score for Luisa Parente of Brazil on women's uneven bars at 9.825.
Second release skill. She's moving very well. You can see her legs nice and tight together. Open, delay, double pipe dismount.
Although she had a little bounce at the end, scored very well.
Now there's her first release skill. It's called a ginger, and she takes it sky high. Unlike Anodi, I had mentioned the amplitude was not quite there. And there's her dismount, a delayed open double pike and a small step on the landing that will cost her.
Wetzel score slightly under that of Miller in the uneven bars, but it kept her in a lead. 300ths of a point separating Shannon Miller from Kim Zmeskal in the battle for first place. 2 rotations to go. Now we go live to the men's vault, and here is the 18-year-old from Kaliningrad, Dmitry Karbanyenko. This may be his strongest of the 6 rotations.
Oh, he is so powerful on this event. Remember earlier I said he actually does a triple somersault on this event. One of the few performing this vault in the world.
He was the top qualifier, finishing ahead of Scott Keswick and Jared Hanks after last night's competition. Spirited young guy. He loves American sports. He says he watches the NBA. He rattled off Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Magic Johnson.
As a matter of fact, he knew that Magic Johnson played in that great game just weeks ago right here. Now watch this. 3 flips. Incredible power. Oh, he's a little long. Incredible.
Oh, my.
Boy, and you know what is so amazing about that, Dick, is technically I've seen him do that vault much better, but he is so tough. He was not going to sit that one down.
Currently 3rd on the Russian national team, and this crowd giving him a thunderous round of applause.
Kind of misses his block just a little bit here, but boy, does he ever pull those legs around. 3 flips, and that's a tremendous force on the legs when you land, but he's a strong kid.
His first trip to the United States, he said, I couldn't wait to go to Disney World and see the American women.
And I have never seen a Russian athlete smile as much as this kid. He is really, really a fabulous athlete.
As we wait for Karbanyenko's marks, here is his countrywoman, fellow competitor, Svetlana Kozlova. She's 17. She's battling to make the Russian Olympic team. She's currently ranked 8th, so this is a very important time for Kozlova. Meanwhile, Karbanyenko, wow, 9.80.
I got to tell you, Dick, that is just too low. I mean, it's so difficult. He did it so well. You got to give him the benefit of a doubt. Yeah, he did take a little step, but that is an incredibly difficult vault. Should have scored higher.
Now Kozlova on the uneven bars.
And Dick, she is your typical Russian athlete, very classy, beautiful lines on this event, and she moves so fluidly from bar to bar. There's her first release skill. She does have 2 release skills planned, the second one being into Tkachev. Very well done. Her coach, I chatted with her coach before the competition. He said she is very capable of throwing almost any dismount in the book. That was a double layup.
Next, our final competitor on men's vault.
We'll come back. We understand that Karbanyenko and Hanks are tied for first. We'll have more when we return to Orlando.
This Olympic Showcase is brought to you by McDonald's. What you want is what you get at McDonald's today. By Visa, official card and traveler's check of the 1992 Olympic Games. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. And by Texaco, official sponsor of the 1992 U.S. Olympic team.
And we welcome you back to the Orlando Arena. They move to rotation 3 for the women, rotation 5 for the men, and for the women, Kim Zmeskal, the world champion, 2-time national champion from Houston, Texas. has a very slender lead over Shannon Miller, the 14-year-old from Edmond, Oklahoma. 0.03 of a point. Canada's brilliant Stella Ume is third, and from Hungary, Henrietta Anodi is fourth. Well, actually, they're in a tie for third. Now let's bring you right up to date. You've seen the uneven bars competition. The first rotation was the vault, and both Zmeskal and Miller were outstanding. You see the men warming up on parallel bars. That's their next rotation. And the women will be on the ever precarious and capricious balance beam. And in the vault competition, the Soviet, now a Russian, CIS, Commonwealth of Independent States, Svetlana Kozlova led off.
Dick, this is one of the most difficult vaults being performed in the world today. It's a Yurchenko, as we've come to see over the last few years, almost a compulsory vault today, but she does hers with a double twist and sticks the landing.
Kozlova earning a 9.825 for that vault. That was the best score at the time, and that brought up Shannon Miller. This is her second vault.
And if the injury was going to be a factor today, it would certainly show on the very first apparatus. Shannon has improved tremendously on this vault. She's very clean, takes it super high, and sticks her landing.
There were a couple of 10s from the judges for Shannon Miller, and her score was 9.950. So the pressure was on the world champion, Kim Zmeskal.
Kim as well coming into the competition with some ankle problems, but she takes it sky high, a little longer than Shannon's vault, not quite as high, but a beautifully executed vault.
9.987 on this vault by Zmeskal that gave her the lead she still enjoys, however slight it may be.
And how about
Dick, you talked about pressure, but this girl is one that loves that feeling. We've seen her in that situation so many times, and she delivers every single time.
Of course, the defending champion, close friend of Zmeskal, Betty OKINO, is not here. She is injured. She's back in Houston at the Karolyi camp. Let's go now to Randy.
Much, Dick. You know, although, as you said, Betty OKINO is not here competing in Orlando, that doesn't mean her Olympic dream isn't very much alive.
I'd like to go to the Olympics and win a medal, hopefully a gold one. Hopefully a gold one. Hopefully a gold one. A gold one.
Confident and strong, Betty OKINO was launched into the spotlight last year. Her win here in Orlando confirmed that a star had been born. She had beaten Kim Zmeskal. A fairy tale began. The daughter of immigrants captured the hearts of all who watched.
That's how you're supposed to do it. Good job.
But the road to glory can take cruel turns. Betty has spent much of the competitive year on the sidelines. Chronic hamstring and ligament injuries and a lingering elbow problem have cast a long shadow on OKINO's Olympic dreams. She struggles. She fights. The training continues. The fire remains. The doubt persists. In May, Kim Zmeskal won her second straight U.S. title. Betty stayed home. By September, she had fought back. A world bronze on the beam. Fourth in the all-around. Betty was back. Well, not exactly. Arthroscopic knee surgery followed in January.
Somewhere, her bone system is not quite, that strong and not that powerful like I wish, to see it. Somewhere, sometime, somehow, she makes pull hamstrings, then makes pull ligaments and back and forth. But, that is just something, what she has to cope with it. She has to work harder than most of the other people, upgrading her physical strength.
It's tough, especially having to miss some of the major competitions, like now American Cup. I wanted to have a chance to maybe win it again, and now I can't go. And last year, championships, USA, I couldn't go because I had an injured elbow. So it's hard, but hopefully this is the last of them and just go straight to the Olympics. I'd like to go to the Olympics and win a medal, hopefully a gold one. Hopefully a gold one. Hopefully a gold one.
Score for Mari Kosuge of Japan.
Well, Bella Caroli maintains that Betty's comeback course for Barcelona is in fact right on course. However, several gymnastics insiders disagree. They have told me they believe Betty has simply lost too much time. Well, it's up to Betty to prove them wrong. Dick?
All right, Randy. And Betty, of course, finished fourth in the World Championships behind Kim Zmeskal's gold medal. Let's look now at the men's standings after 4 rotations, 2 to go. United States and the CIS, Commonwealth of Independent States, tied for first. Hanks and Karbenyenko. Scott Keswick falls to 3rd place, and Luis Lopez is 4th. And Scott Keswick, now the national champion in parallel bars. This is the 5th rotation for men.
You know, Dick, I've said it for years. If there is an American gymnast that can answer the challenge to the Russians, this is the kid that can do it. But we see flashes of brilliance from Scott, like the still rings, the 10.0. But then his next event on vaulting, he has a disaster, puts both hands down. This is also a strong event for him, though. We'll see if he can get back on track. He's very calm on this event. You'll notice that some of the athletes, when they're a little bit off, like right there, had to take a very small step. But watch this double front. Had problems with that in the warm-ups, but did that flawlessly right there. T-bars has kind of turned into a release event, just like the high bar. Nice work. He's just got to stick the dismount. It's a double pike. A little bit over and a couple little shimmies on the landing there. Good routine, though.
Keswick, the son of a retired Air Force Master Sergeant. He proved why he's been tabbed the king of the rings with his perfect 10 earlier. And now a solid routine, but the stumble on the dismount.
And the big but is it will certainly not be enough to put him into contention for the gold medal. Double pike just a little bit over, hips a little bit off balance, and 2 slides back. That'll be at least 3/10 of a point deduction.
So it becomes more and more apparent that the battle for the men's title will be between Karbenyenko of the CIS and Jared Hanks of the United States. And there's Hanks as he gets ready for his parallel bars routine. Currently tied for first with Karbenyenko, 4 rotations down, 2 to go. And Karbenyenko said he loved watching his Russian athletes win the gold medal in hockey. He's a hockey fan, loves to play table tennis. If it weren't for the accent, you would have felt he's somebody that wandered up from south of Florida to see the action today. Keswick's score on the parallel bars, 9.70. And the competition in this, the 17th Annual American Cup, will continue from Orlando, Florida, after these words. Welcome back to Orlando. Henrietta Hanodi of Hungary. Her 3rd rotation, the balance beam, and this Elfie has been a troublesome event for her.
You could say, Dick, this has become her nemesis. At the World Championships, she had some major problems in the all-around competition. And then last night in the qualification round of competition, she had problems with her toughest skill on this event. It's a combination, back handspring to an Arabian front. It's a very difficult skill, but as you can see, she just could not hang on to the move.
How she has matured. Remember her first appearance at the American Cup in 1987. She was just 12 years old, 4 feet tall. The Fairfax, Virginia crowd fell in love with her immediately. Now she's 17 and undoubtedly thinking about the immediate past, hoping she can correct that today.
Well, actually, I was watching her in the warm-up, and she was standing at the end of the beam waiting to go. She was not practicing the skill as she did the other night, so this could be a good omen. She'll set up with a full turn. This is the tumbling skill. Okay, just a slight wobble at the end, but she must be relieved that that tumbling skill is over.
She reduced the difficulty too, didn't she?
Actually, Dick, from last night's competition, it was the same skill. It's just she performed it so poorly in the qualification. In today's event, just a slight wobble. It won't be a major deduction. Back extension roll. Now she levers down to a planche. And this is a new skill, just a little quarter hop. Judges always looking for some originality in the balance beam routine. And also, the athletes have to work down low on the beam. That's one of the requirements.
Had a little bit of a problem with her dismount yesterday as well. Didn't quite get the triple twist all the way around.
You're right, Tim. She has been having a lot of difficulty, and it was a skill that was so easy for her in the past. Still short on the landing.
17-year-old number 1 Hungarian gymnast needs a 9.387 to take first place, with Zmeskal and Miller to come.
And here's the skill, a back handspring in combination to an Arabian. It's very difficult to do because she's landing in a blind landing. Much better today.
And on her dismount, she didn't quite complete that third rotation, did she?
Was very short, Dick, on the landing. She usually performs it so beautifully and stands it right up, but I've noticed over the past few competitions, she has not been completing the twist.
Let's take a look at it.
Now she'll set with a round off. And there's her takeoff. Perhaps not quite enough height. She does spin very quickly, but you can see right there, that's a three-quarter landing, so it is not a perfect triple twist.
Really not a traditional dismount, though. Very few athletes. I believe Michelle Duzer from the United States was one of the first to perform that dismount off the balance beam. A little bit more difficult than the standard double back somersault.
Just free exercise left now for Hanodi, who seems pleased as they post her marks. 9.687 for Hanodi. That will move her into third place, with Miller and Zmeskal yet to go, and we'll see their routines in a moment. But now it's Jared Hanks about to go on the parallel bars.
And Jared Hanks is in a tie right now with the Russian Karmenyenko. They both have two strong events remaining. We're in a fifth rotation for the men's parallel bars.
10 to the University of Oklahoma to follow his hero, Bart Conner.
And the secret and change for Jared has become that he is so much more consistent. Always used to have a major break, but really doesn't give anything away anymore. Those skills are called Healy twirls. They're very difficult. A little bit short on that back toss. That'll be at least 1/10 of a point. Now he just has the dismount. It's a double pike. Very difficult also. Good landing, little bit of a hop, but that opens the door just a little bit for the Russian Karmenyenko.
Well, he'll be able to commiserate with Karmenyenko. Hanks is a Russian language major, so he can do more than talk to Dmitry with body language.
Actually become very close with many of the Russian athletes. Let's look at his dismount here. Nice height off the bars, beautiful extended legs, but that slide to the side right there, that's at least 1/10, probably 2/10 of a point.
Better than yesterday.
From Lafayette, Louisiana, and there's Karmenyenko. He'll be studying Hank's score, knowing that that will be the number he'll have to beat to take the lead. Dmitry, whose brother was a MiG pilot. He doesn't know where his father is. Acted as though he doesn't even know his father. His mother works on a fishing ship canning fish off the coast of South America. They do most of their work down in that part of the world.
Yeah, you mentioned that Karmenyenko's brother actually was a MiG pilot. His brother was the person who got him involved in the sport of gymnastics. He started the sport before Karmenyenko. And Dmitry decided that gymnastics wasn't for him, and he moved on to soccer. But 2.5 years later, he was spotted on a playground somewhere. A coach came up to him and said, "This boy has talent, and you're in the wrong sport, kid. You ought to be doing gymnastics." So he went back and hasn't looked back since.
Listed at 132 pounds. He laughed when we said that. He said 150, more like it. He's built like a little fullback. You know, the Navy and some of the service teams have that 150-pound football league. He would fit right in. He's a tough young guy.
Yeah, he certainly doesn't fit the usual Russian style of a body line.
There seems to be some debate on Jared Hanks' parallel bar scores. The referee perhaps getting involved.
Harry Berkey, the head judge on this event, has been in this situation many times. But what Jared did is he opened up the door for a slightly lower score. And in a competition like this, the American Cup, you just can't give the judges that opportunity.
Hi, Mom.
So Jared Hanks and the rest of us wait. So we'll take a break now, have the scores when we return. Beautiful Orlando Arena has been the host of the U.S. Figure Skating Championships, the NBA All-Star Game, now the American Cup Gymnastics. So the folks down in Central Florida have seen the very best in three great sports. We can tell you that Jared Hanks' score on the parallel bars after much judging debate was 9.75. So that's the number Karbanyenko needs to beat to take the lead with one rotation to go. Now let's go to what's the most intriguing battle between the top two U.S. women. Shannon Miller, who has her eyes on something special, and although she's frail and delicate and so quiet, she's a real powerhouse. And of course we know the strength of Kim Zmeskal.
Well, Dick, it's so interesting to see the difference between the two body builds and also the personalities. Kim really plays to the crowd. She is very powerful, and you can see that in her very strong build. Shannon, on the other hand, is very slight, almost very fragile looking, but you'd be amazed at just how much power she does possess.
Would like to thank American Athletics. Very hard to put on a beat without
Kim Zmeskal literally carries the weight of the world on her 16-year-old shoulders. She's America's first world all-around champion. She's expected to win. She's the one. She carries pressure into Barcelona more than any gymnast in American history. She's taken the year off from high school, spends endless hours training, thinking, and wide-eyed wondering.
I want to win everything I go into. That's what I'm training for. But now I feel like everybody else is saying, well, she's supposed to win it too.
And the Olympic dream has no automatics. A challenger grows stronger each day. 14-year-old Shannon Miller. Quiet and shy, this sinewy-muscled Oklahoman is talented enough to take on Zmeskal. She showed her mettle just last night when she beat the world champion here in the qualifying round.
And here we go. Arm is out. You slow the connection. You're hurling out and you're open. You're trying to keep it. Bring him a little bit. Make that connection. Yeah, put more speed on the end.
It's like once you're up there, you don't want to lose because then everybody will look away and look at this other person.
And last year at the American Cup, Kim did lose to her best friend, Betty OKINO. Kim stood in the background and watched all eyes focus on her teammate. It was a troubling time for Zmeskal. A simmering feud with Bella didn't help.
Unfortunately, her priorities cannot be set right. and that messes up probably her ultimate goals.
I wouldn't be spending so much time in a gym if I didn't want to be in the World Championships and the Olympics.
And all seemed to be forgiven when Kim won her second U.S. title in May. And then the ultimate, Kim Zmeskal, world all-around champion. The heartache of last year evaporated, and by the time the Queen had taken her place atop the podium, she was a changed athlete.
With her new status, her mind is set. Yes, I have some obligations, and I have to fulfill some other requirements, which in past I did not consider so highly.
I used to just be, so-so and work out, and then I'd go in a competition and be able to do it, and everyone's like, that's not fair, But I think lately, my workouts have been better. So hopefully that'll mean my competitions will be even better.
Outside the Caroli system in Edmond, Oklahoma, Shannon Miller rises with the sun each and every day. She tries to lead a normal life. She really tries.
She's never missed a practice in 5 years. Not for sickness, not for anything. Illness, injury, nothing. And there isn't another girl, I don't think, in the country that can say that I know of.
Inertia is a resistance of an object to motion.
Even in this Olympic year, Shannon, a freshman, still attends high school. Unlike many gymnasts these days who move away from home to be close to their coach, she still lives with her family, a father, a college physics professor, and her mother, a bank vice president.
Right up. There. Girl. Now that's a little soft.
As we look ahead to Barcelona, one thinks of U.S. gymnastics elite, and then one thinks Karolyi. Shannon is an exception.
I don't know how I do at Bella's, but I think I'm doing just fine here. I mean, I'm up with them. I'm doing as well as they are, and I don't have to be there.
One person who has been trained by Karolyi is her coach, Steve Nuno, who has taken the Masters coaching example and now has a chance to beat Bella.
What he did for me is he taught me how to motivate a gymnast. I believe that he is probably the best coach in the world. I think you could take a basketball team and coach a basketball team to a championship.
The great motivator. Maybe you taught this man too much.
Oh my God, he is crazy. He's flattering me too much, and I believe the Bobby Knight guy would be really mad if he heard about this thing, basketball deal. But sure, I appreciate. We are having a nice competition, and I hope we're gonna go a long way from now on, helping the kids, helping each other, pushing each other all the way till the goal gonna be in somebody's neck.
Well, we know there's much success ahead. Steve, a rivalry is healthy in a nice competitive way. Is it a little bit sweeter to know that Shannon might be able to successfully take the throne from Kim?
Well, I don't think it's the throne here. It's, obviously she's a world champion, but this is the American Cup. Kim is not the defending champion in the American Cup this year. It's anybody's ball game, and we've got two great champions. I'm really excited to be in contention at all.
Okay, well, Bella said there's no battle between the coaches. There's always a battle, however, with the judges. The brilliant teacher, the gifted student. Back to you, Dick.
All right, Randy, and you'll learn some lessons from Bella in working the officials. He's an Al McGuire of this sport. We'll return. Balance beam coming up. 17th McDonald's American Cup started in 76 as part of the celebration here in the United States. Tied for first after 4 rotations, Jared Hanks of the U.S. and Dmitry Karbanyenko of the CIS. And Karbanyenko knows he has to better 9.75. That was the score of Hanks, 9.75 to take the lead with only the high bar to go.
We now bring up our next
we've seen big gymnastics from Karbanyenko all day, and he won't disappoint again.
This is his favorite event, he told us, parallel bars.
I mentioned a little bit earlier about the major release skill that Scott Keswick did on the parallel bars, that 1 3/4 front. Well, he does it, but he does it from a much more difficult combination. But whenever you have those big skills, there's a chance for a big mistake. He'll set up for him right here. 2 Healy twirls. This one goes right into that skill. Double front. Oh, my. Perfectly done. Long, extended line. Beautiful back toss. The dismount double pike got a stick. Oh, my. Boy.
Now, the big red machine, the Russians continue to produce one great young gymnast after another. Someone no one knew here, Dmitry Karbanyenko, just finished 3rd in the Nationals. And what a showing.
Let's watch at that very difficult combination. He'll do those 2 Heelys. These alone are D-rated skills right into a double front. And so difficult to keep moving, he does it perfectly.
His hero, the great Russian champion, Bilazerchev. He'd be proud of the kind of power moves that Dmitry has. It would appear that that was good enough to take the lead from Jared Hanks.
Well, that should definitely take the lead. Jared opened up the door just a little bit with that hop on the landing. Same dismount, double pikes from both of them. Karbanyenko stuck his. Jared, of course, the small hop. A meet like this, doing so well internationally in this very important Olympic year, could be just what it takes for Karbanyenko to make his way onto that Russian team for 1992.
You remember with Jared Hanks, there was a long conference before they finally decided on a 9.75.
Well, I got to tell you, I do not know what they're talking about here because I saw absolutely no visible errors whatsoever. There's a discrepancy. If the scores are out of range, that means if one of the judges has a 9.9 and another has a 9.6, they have to come together and work it out.
But there is no mistake. There's 2 or 3D. 3 or 4D.
3D. The double front, the full end, the double pipe back, and the heely.
Well, they are sorting out exactly what each judge has given difficulty-wise. That's really not the question right here. There were no errors in the exercise. It was wonderfully composed, and it was as difficult as being done in the world today. Shouldn't be any lower than a 9.85.
Meanwhile, the balance beam for women is this rotation, and Shannon Miller and Kim Zmeskal will be the last 2 competitors.
Harry Berkey, the gentleman you heard speaking a little bit earlier, he's the head judge, and he is trying to bring the panel together, trying to say that each athlete, each judge must be in the same range of scores.
9.80. And again, this crowd, although a pro-U.S. crowd, as you might imagine, even Jared Hanks can't believe it's a 9.80.
Well, that's disappointing, and you know, Jared doesn't want to see that happening. He wants to go out on the floor, and he wants to win this competition on his own. He doesn't want any help from anybody.
Meanwhile, on the beam, Svetlana Kozlova, currently in 5th place.
Take a look at this mount. A front summy on. It's a blind landing, as you can imagine. So difficult when you only are dealing with 4 inches of a balance beam. Of all her apparatus, Dick, I would say this is Svetlana's weakest. She does all the traditional skills. This first acrobatic skill, 2 layouts in a row. But of course, what is so characteristic of the Russian athletes are their beautiful lines and wonderful choreography, and Svetlana has very nice flexibility that she'll display throughout the routine. Taking a little setup time for a second acrobatic skill, a round-off layout, fighting to stay on. Now, that is very uncharacteristic. We so seldom see the Russian athletes fall off the balance beam. Obviously, this is taking her right out of the running.
0.5 of a point anytime the athlete falls off any apparatus, so no chance whatsoever to challenge the leaders.
She's looking a little timid at this point. Getting set for a dismount. It's a big dismount. It'll take the entire length of the beam, a round-off back handspring. It looks as if she's on the floor. Double back, and she does stick her landing. That's impressive to see that she ends on a high note.
17-year-old from St. Petersburg, currently regarded as the Russians' number 8, and there's Shannon Miller. She'd like to be looked at as the U.S. number 1. She's going against the world champion, and her father, Ron, the professor at University of Central Oklahoma, who uses some of her videotape to teach physics in the classroom. He's got the camera at the ready. Miller and Zmeskal coming up. Eavesdropping on her coach, Steve Nuno. Here's Shannon Miller. He said, be aggressive. Here's young Shannon Miller. She'll be 15 next Wednesday. Just 0.03 of a point behind Kim Zmeskal going into this rotation. This is her best event.
What you'll see on this apparatus is the most difficult skills that are being performed in the world today. Shannon is the premier beam worker in the world. She has actually upgraded some of her difficulties since the World Championships.
She was the only American ever to qualify for all 4 events in the World Championships in Indianapolis.
Dick, I think part of the reason for her success on this apparatus has been the numbers of routines that Shannon trains daily. She does more routines than any other gymnast I've ever seen. Now this is not her most difficult tumbling pass, but it still is very difficult. Back extension roll to a back handspring layout, landing with 2 feet. This is the skill right here she's setting up for that she has upgraded. Back handspring to 3 layouts. Perfectly done. She is just amazing to watch. Not only does she have the difficulty, but the concentration, the consistency on this event is just amazing. This will be interesting. In the warm-up, she had trouble on her dismount. It's a very difficult one. Full twisting, double back, one small hop in the landing.
Hey! What a great job. What a great job. Let's say hi to the people. Great for him.
Nuno learned more than motivation from Belly. He's even got his style. The crowd loved it, other than a little hop at the end. That was nearly perfect.
Dick, that was the only flaw to the exercise, was a small hop, but it was such an incredibly difficult move.
She's the only American to do this tumbling combination. 3 layouts.
Perfect, just a hop. Perfect set.
How many in the world do that successfully?
There aren't many at all that do this move and do it as well as Shannon Miller.
And the score, 9.950. So Kim Zmeskal, ahead by only 3/100ths of a point, coming into this rotation, will have to be right around that number to maintain the lead. With the estimated crowd of 12,000 here at Orlando, the parents of Kim Zmeskal, Father David, Mother Clarice, you saw her in the replay of the World Championships last week, and daughter Kim Zmeskal needs a 9.914 to take the lead.
Dick, I chatted with Mrs. Zmeskal on the way over to the gym, and she was very worried about this performance. Kim definitely has her work cut out for her on this event. That score, 9.91, is very, very high, and it will be tough for Kim to surpass Shannon Miller. I don't quite think she has the difficulty in this routine to accomplish that.
But boy, she has the heart.
There's one thing you can say about Kim Zmeskal. She is a competitor. I would say she thrives on the challenge. This is her trademark move, a reverse planche. Now, Kim has made one change since the World Championships. She's changed one of her acrobatic skills. You can see she's preparing for the first acrobatic series. 2 layouts in a row. She's right on.
Nice.
You can hear Bella in the background talking his way through this routine. I'm sure he knows this one cold. Here's where the change has come about. A back handspring, and she's landing a little differently with 2 feet. Now, she had problems in the qualification competition, none today.
Much better today.
The only thing left is her dismount. Not as difficult as Shannon Miller's, just a double back.
Yeah!
Small hop on the landing.
Good. All right, Kimbo. Good job. That was a good one. All right.
You look ahead to Barcelona, and one thing the women are going to take from the United States is a fighting spirit. Do they battle? And they seem to love the pressure.
Kim definitely loves the pressure, and you know, she performed the best routine that she could possibly do. If there's any changes to be made before Barcelona, she'll just have to upgrade some of the difficulty, perhaps the dismount. This is one of the skills, Dick, that has become very common in women's gymnastics. It's a double back in a tuck position. She does take it very high, but the slight hop will hurt her.
Score for Kim Zmeskal of the United States on balance beam, a 9.95.
Mother Clarice, 9.5. That's the same score as Shannon Miller. That's somewhat surprising. So Kim Zmeskal, and of course you carry that world sash, that world banner, and you perhaps are looked at differently by the judges in competition. So with one rotation to go, the floor exercise, and that is Zmeskal strength. Kim Zmeskal still in the lead. Randy?
Clarice and David Zmeskal very happy that that event is over with.
Right on. I was sweating after yesterday's. It was pretty scary.
David, how does your daughter handle the pressure of the world on those little shoulders?
I don't know. She manages to block out everything and concentrate on what's beforehand and just does it.
And as you just said, this might be a competition that comes down to who makes the first mistake.
Right, it really does. I think they're both very strong, and it's good to see that the United States has two good competitors like this.
Very well said. Thank you very much, Clarice and David. Back to you, Dick.
All right, Randy, and that's a very good point made by Mrs. Zmeskal. The fact that this competition is so intense here amongst teammates can only make them better and the U.S. team better. And we'll return to more gymnastics, and NBC Update follows. But first, let's pause for this. Welcome back to the Orlando Arena. This is Dick Enberg with Elfie Schlegel and Tim Daggett, Randy Haw, Schlegel. Elfie Schlegel, they say Schlegel. You say Schlegel, I say Schlegel. Swiss, right?
It's Swiss, you're right.
We're pleased that you're part of our NBC team as we look ahead to Barcelona. Talk about looking ahead. Check those eyes. Kim Zmeskal with her best event ahead. The final rotation, the floor exercise. Women completing their warm-up. The men go to the spectacular high bar. A reminder, during today's broadcast, any gymnast who scores a perfect 10 will receive the McDonald's Perfect 10 Award and a $1,000 donation to that gymnast's Olympic training fund. We've already had one, Scott Keswick, and Zmeskal certainly has the potential here. Here are the standings. Zmeskal ahead of Shannon Miller by 300ths, almost 400ths of a point. Onodi of Hungary is third, and Mary Sakugi of Japan is fourth. Onodi is first up on the floor.
Dick, I don't think you'll see Onodi having any chances of winning this event unless disaster strikes for Kim Zmeskal or Shannon Miller. What you will see is a floor routine that she has performed for the past 3 years. She should be very comfortable with this routine. She can fit a lot in one tumbling line. That was a whip through to a full in back out, and she's so well known for those crisp landings. Her second tumbling pass, this was giving her problems off the balance beam. It's a triple twist. She usually stands it up perfectly. That's the way we've known Onodi to perform that skill. Just beautiful. Very few women in the world perform more than 3 tumbling passes, and Onodi is one of those women. Double twist to a punch front, and I tell you, I'm tired just watching her. She's getting set for her final tumbling run, which is a big one. Double pipe to end, very crisp. You know, this may be the last time you hear this music from Onodi. She's working on a more mature style.
Kim Zmeskal watching, and Onodi has set a high standard. It'll be interesting to see what the judges can find wrong with that routine.
Such a well-trained athlete. You know, every time she steps out onto the floor, she is so well prepared for every competition.
Meanwhile, let's update you on the men's standings after 5 rotations. Karbanyenko, the 18-year-old Russian, in the lead, 0.05 of a point ahead of the United States' Jared Hanks, the Oklahoma Sooner, Scott Keswick, the UCLA Bruin. Luis Lopez of Mexico, who competed for the University of New Mexico, is 4th. Karbanyenko checking the scouting report. Anodi, a solid 9.90. They had to leave some room above. So she apparently will stay in 3rd. Jared Hanks, meanwhile, on the high bar, one of the showcase events in men's gymnastics, the finale of the competition, and certainly a crowd-pleasing event.
Well, Jared has an uphill battle right here. He's already just slightly behind the Russian gymnast. Needs a flawless routine. Of course, what we look for on the high bar are those big release skills. He does 3 of them. First one right here. Whoa, just a little bit far. 2 in a row right here. Nicely done. This skill actually fulfills a requirement on the high bar. He'll do a big dismount here. 2 flips, 2 twists in the laid out position. Oh, just a small step. He really needed to stick that one to put the pressure on Karbanyenko.
Dmitry, with the advantage of being in first place and having his competitor go first, knows exactly what he'll need after the scores are posted. Let's check that dismount again.
Very difficult dismount. 2 flips, 2 twists. Spots the ground, but just a little bit over and has to take that small step back. Really wanted to stick that one.
Well, what is the secret there? You can't be looking down too much or your head will throw you forward. You say you spot the mat, but you're really out of your periphery.
Well, the thing that's so difficult about that is you're not just flipping, you're also twisting, and it's a lot going on in one air.
9.80.
Good score for Jared, you know. But Karbanyenko certainly has the potential to score at least a 9.8 on high bar.
Calmly waiting his turn, Karbanyenko.
Our next competitor on women's
and we'll switch to the women's final rotation, the floor, and Luisa Parente, she by far the oldest in the women's competition, 3 years older than the group of 16-year-olds and younger. She's 19 from Rio de Janeiro.
She has been a pleasant surprise in the competition. Although she has no chances for a medal here today, she opened up with a fairly simple tumbling run. It's just a double pike. At this level, you need a lot more than that.
She has twice finished 4th in the all-around in the Pan American Games.
Just to give you a little idea, Henrietta Anodi dismounted with the same pass that we just saw for her opening run.
Again, a very weak second tumbling skill, a double twist.
Boy, it's getting tough when you call that weak. I mean, it looks pretty good to me.
Finale, a double tuck, very short on the landing. You know, this is not her strongest event. Her 2 strongest are the vaulting and uneven bars. But overall, a good competition. Unfortunate for the fall.
Luisa Parente of Brazil still to come. Kim Zmeskal and Shannon Miller, their floor exercise routines as they battle for the gold. And Dmitry Karbanyenko on the high bar. He's in first place as he goes for a Russian victory in Orlando. Welcome back. Final rotation for women. This is Maya Ristova from Bulgaria. She's 16. Her home is Sofia. The Bulgarian women's team finishing 5th in the team competition in the World Championships in Indianapolis. Qualify for the Olympics. And an American company, Logo 7 in Indianapolis, a wonderful shirt-making outfit, Sports Shirts, funded them. They didn't have enough money to send the team over from Sofia, so Logo 7 stepped in and helped the Bulgarians and made some good friends from long distance. And this is a building team, Bulgaria, and she is terrific. Ristova.
A wonderful opening, a double layout, and she stayed completely stretched right to the end.
In the world all around. This was her best event.
Great difficulty in this routine, opening with a double layout, second pass, a full twisting double back. You know, it's so important to get the crowd involvement. Not only does she have strong tumbling, but she has great choreography and a great selection of music. Three very tough tumbling runs, a double back to end. Dick, I know you like this athlete. I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more from Maya, certainly in Barcelona.
Maya Ristova. As they say in Sofia, oh, Maya. And now to Dmitry Karbanyenko, who needs a 9.75 to win this American Cup championship. Actually 7.5 to tie, 7.6 to win, and that certainly is well within his talent on this event. Crowd really has responded warmly to him, haven't they?
Well, you know, he's having a wonderful meet. American crowd certainly, you know, they're rooting for the Americans, but they're going to cheer for a good performance.
He won the qualifying competition last night.
He's really been just fabulous all day long today. Working class gymnast, no mistakes. Unique beginning, and here comes his major release. This is a Kovacs over the bars, gotta grab it. Oh my! Well, that's obviously it. That Jared Hanks is your 1992 American Cup champion. No matter how great you are, no matter how difficult the skills you decide to use, you got to catch the bar. You got to perform when it counts.
Now he has to bear down or Keswick could pass him.
Let's see what goes wrong here. Just probably hold on a little bit too long. And oh, just on the fingertip, but cannot hold on.
He was 65/100ths of a point ahead of Keswick, and that's a 5/10 deduction. So he has to be nearly perfect to hold second place.
Very difficult, of course, to regain your composure. His dismount is a triple back somersault, 3 flips, a little bit out, and has to take that big hop forward. Dick let go of the bar just a little bit before he should have. Threw it out a little bit too far from the bar and takes that step or hop forward. Oh, that's disappointing.
We will wait for Dmitri's score a bit more.
Dmitry Karbanyenko with a gold medal here at the American Cup in his grasp in his first trip to the U.S., but this mistake will cost him first place.
And this was fatal. Remember, we said he needed a great performance at an American Cup or a competition like this to get some points in his corner, maybe make that Barcelona team.
Well, here's a young man who would make any other team in the world, and yet he is really scrambling and scratching to be the final 6 to go to Barcelona to represent the Russians.
Currently ranked 8th for the Russians, and that is 2 spots away from making that Barcelona trip.
Although he did finish 3rd in the Nationals, but they don't always have everyone run through that national championship. Jared Hanks, meanwhile, he too joins the list of the wounded, icing down a sore ankle, but that big smile brings out a lot of warmth. He has won his first ever American Cup.
And I believe that's Jared's first major international victory. Criticisms about Jared in the past have been that he just can't perform under the clutch situation. Well, he did today.
9.10. So Scott Keswick, with a brilliant high bar routine, and he's capable, could move into second place. Svetlana Kozlova,
17-year-old Svetlana
Karbanyenko's teammate. She's from St. Petersburg, formerly Leningrad. 17 years old.
Strong opening for Svetlana, full twisting double back. Svetlana will really be looking to end the meet strongly. She had that fall on the balance beam, does not have a chance to win the event, obviously. Beautiful second tumbling run to triple twist, a little bit of a rebound out of it. Svetlana Boginskaya, and it's interesting, Svetlana Kozlova, who you're watching, was 3rd at their national championships just a couple of weeks ago, and Boginskaya, as an update, incidentally, did not place in the top 6. Strong finish for the American Cup.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the community of independent
her first visit to the United States, Svetlana Kozlova. She will not finish in the top 2 or 3. But we do know who has won the men's championship here in 1992, and what a nice warm-up and tribute to an athlete who at 22 seems to be getting better at the right time. Jared Hanks, the champion, with Randy Hall.
Jared just said, are you excited? I'm excited. I'm excited for you. Congratulations. I know you were watching that routine with a lot of nervousness.
Yes, very much. I was more nervous whenever I was doing mine. In the middle of it, I almost missed a release and gave it away myself. It seems like anybody has a chance to make a mistake in this sport, and luckily I didn't make any big mistakes today and came out on top.
Is this a boost in your confidence? How will this win affect you?
Well, I won Winter Nationals about 3 weeks ago, and this one definitely tops that. Hopefully I'll stay on this roll throughout the Olympics and make the Olympic team, and I just hope everything goes well and I stay healthy.
I bet it will. Much success ahead. Thanks very much, Jared Hanks. Back to you, Dick.
Handsome young star from Lafayette, Louisiana, migrated to the University of Oklahoma. Not only to follow his idol Bart Connor, he erased a lot of Bart Connor records from the Sooner book, 12-year-old records. Now Dimitri able to give us a smile. I kind of hate to see him leave. He's looking forward to Disney World tomorrow. All the athletes invited to take a tour of that wonderful fantasy land and Epcot Center here outside Orlando. Randy Hall is standing by as well as Shannon Miller and Kim Zmeskal await the
1990 British national champion.
Their free exercise routine. Zmeskal has had perhaps an advantage of always following Shannon Miller throughout all 4 rotations.
She knows exactly what she's got to do to go ahead of Shannon.
And let's go to Randy, who has a bit of a news story, and it's good news for American women's gymnastics involving Brandy Johnson.
Okay, Brandy Johnson, a little bit of news last week when you announced a comeback. What in the world motivated you to want to come back to the sport?
Well, I've been thinking about it for about 6 months, but I guess watching the Winter Olympics, and I happened to see a story on there about a speed skater, and she made a comeback after being out for a year and won a medal, and I think she really inspired me.
You're watching a lot of tough competitors out there today. Compared to them, how realistic do you think your chances are?
Well, I see the competition out there. It's going to be tough as always. I didn't say it was going to be easy, but I'm going to work real hard and give it my 110%, and we'll see where I stand.
What will constitute success for you?
Well, I think I'm just going to have to be very determined, and I'm just going to go out there and do the best I can.
Certainly all eyes in this arena will be on you.
Thanks.
Good luck to you, Brandy Johnson. Back to you, Dick.
All right, Brandy Johnson, a member of the 1988 Olympic team that barely was edged out for the bronze medal. She'd like to join the likes of Shannon Miller and Kim Zmeskal, who are battling for the gold in Orlando today. The American Cup finale in a moment. Oh, you're cutting the fractions when you talk about how close this has been. Kim Zmeskal, who took the lead early in the vault, the first rotation, has maintained it despite the serious and talented challenge of young Shannon Miller. Miller has been competing today with a painful left hamstring, and she did not warm up well for the floor at all, Elfie.
Dick, she did not. She was just doing her opening tumbling pass and almost landed on her face. You can see that the injury probably has become a factor on this last rotation. Kim is not going to give up at all. She is a true champion. She loves the challenge, and if she is going to win this event, it will definitely come down to this event, and this is her best apparatus.
Stop. So get ready, okay? Okay, stop. Now be rested.
And
you ready?
Concludes
you want to wait?
Our period for the second half of our final rotation, rotation 6.
Nuno sensing that
women's floor
she just doesn't feel right, and you can read that in her face. She had two problems in the warm-up. Took a pretty nasty
up on the takeoff
bounce.
United States,
okay.
Shannon Miller.
Watch out nicely. Keep that chin up. Let's go. Come on.
Dick, if there's any concern, it will be right here in her opening tumbling run. Whip through to a full twisting double back. She overcompensated for what she lacked in the warm-up.
Well, it's totally uncharacteristic of how she's been performing for the last 6 months.
I know the injury must be on her mind. Shannon, if there's one small criticism in her floor routine, the tumbling is good when she's on. You can see they're having problems with her full twisting double back, but she just doesn't let go in her dance. So on the days when she's on, that's something she'll have to work on towards Barcelona.
Come on now.
She's tired and hasn't made a tumbling pass yet. She's got to go hard on this one.
Come on, right up. Right up. Come on, get up. Get it.
Well, unfortunately, Tim, she's out of the running. As we said, very uncharacteristic. She does end strong with a double back.
For the first time she shows Olympus, she walks toward Coach Steve Nuno. He sensed that she wasn't right. You could really read it in his eyes.
Okay. Oh, well, that's okay. That's all right. You did a good job. Oh, all right. Okay, let's go get some ice on that thing, huh? Very aggressive there in the beginning and too much. Okay. Go sit. Come on.
really was a shame. She is such a performer and usually loves the challenge. Here's her opening tumbling run, the one that she had problems in warm-up, but whipped through to a full twisting double back, and she pulled so hard. You can see over-rotating the fall out of bounds. She was right out of it after this.
Really overcompensating, I think, Alfie. She just didn't have the power. She made a lot of errors in the warm-up rotation, pulled a little bit too long. It was just too much over.
But yeah, I like what Steve told us about her a couple of days ago. She's dainty, but daring, and we might add another D, deceptively strong. I mean, she doesn't have the heavy muscular body of some of the other gymnasts, not built for the power. Kim Zmeskal is, much like Mary Lou Retton. But boy, she is tough-minded and strong. 9.212. She won't win the championship, but she made the competition. She made this competition because she forced Zmeskal, the world champion, to be at her best.
Stuff, we're getting that way. Stuff, you got to be able to handle it, we got one more to go, okay? We got the mixed pairs left, so.
You forget sometimes that they're only 14 and 15 and 6. She's just a freshman at Edmond High School, but she's a world name, and we'll hear much more from young Shannon Miller. Next is Kim Zmeskal. Teary eyes of Shannon Miller, who has fallen to third place. Henrietta Anodi of Hungary has moved into second place. The injured hamstring and then the fatigue of the 4 rotations finally taking its toll in the floor exercise. And now in first place, America's first ever world champion in this sport. He's part of American history. Kim Zmeskal goes for her second American Cup title.
Decided to use the upgraded tumbling version. Yes, Shannon made it very easy for her, but it was important for Kim to land that tumbling pass.
Good. You got Paul?
This tumbling run is always a crowd pleaser. 3 whip backs to a back handspring, double back, a little short on the landing.
He needs a 9.913 to set a new record in this 17-year event, breaking Betty OKINO's mark set last year.
Now she dismounted in the first day of competition with a full twisting double. She was a little short on her second tumbling pass. Let's see if she does it here.
Now that's important, Dick, for a number of reasons. This will give Kim the confidence leading into Barcelona.
From the United States, Kim Zmeskal.
This big audience, and many of them young boys and girls, aspiring gymnasts who came for this reason to cheer Kim Zmeskal, the world champion, a chance to salute her.
What's so impressive is that Kim answered the challenge. So many people criticized her at the World Championships for not having enough difficulty in this routine. And this is her trademark tumbling run. I was going to say she probably could do this in her sleep. Her 3 whip backs to a double back, just a little short on the landing.
Now Bella, watch the same thing. Let him do the play-by-play. And the score, 9.912. 1/1000th of a point short of the record.
We are now ready for our next competitor on the horizontal bar.
Randy with the winner.
All the way from China, please welcome in his last appearance this afternoon, Shan.
We're checking now. We see Randy now trying to get in between coach and athlete. Here she is.
Let's go.
Kimbo.
Okay, Kim Zimesco, congratulations. What a nerve-wracking event. It's over.
Yeah, it was a very hard competition all the way through. Shannon and me were very, very close the whole competition. And it was kind of scary at sometimes, but pushed us to both do our best.
And you certainly did today. With you following her, did that make it more exciting because you like pressure, or would you rather it have been the other way around?
No, I'm glad it was this way. I got to, know that I needed good routines on every event.
How difficult for you to come into these events now as world champion and everybody expects you to win?
Yeah, that's a little hard because I know a lot of people expect me to win, but trying to use that to my advantage, and I guess it's working.
You love pressure, admit it.
I do.
All right, well, Dick, this is one time that I can ask this question, and it's not even for a commercial. Now, what's next? What are you doing tomorrow?
We're going to Disney World tomorrow. And then, we have McDonald's Mixed Pairs coming out next week.
Okay, good luck. And of course, in fact, Kim Zimesco and all the other gymnasts are going to Disney World. Back to you, Dick.
All right, congratulations to Kim Zimesco. She won in 1990, finished second to Betty OKINO here last year, and has regained her championship. And there's Scott Keswick. Many regard him as the most talented of the U.S. athletes, and with Karbanyenko's fall off the high bar, Keswick, with a strong 9.85, could tie for second. Welcome back to Orlando. The final results are official. Kim Zimesco is the champion for the second time of the American Cup. Henrietta Anodi of Hungary moves into second place with Shannon Miller, who hamstring problems and fatigue took the toll in the floor exercise. Maya Ristova of Bulgaria finishes strongly and takes fourth place. Randy Hall is with Shannon Miller.
Thanks very much, Dick. You came in today with so much confidence and so much excitement based on yesterday's success. Did you feel different when you walked into floors? What happened?
No, I underdid it a little bit in warm-ups and overdid it in the meets.
But you did come in feeling really great, and you had great scores, although I know your coach was disappointed. Did he talk to you about how unfair, in fact, and that's the word he used to me, that he thought the scores were? How did you feel about them?
I didn't really look at the scores. I had been hitting my routines up in the last event.
All right, thanks very much, Shannon Miller. It was a great performance. Back to you, Dick.
All right, Shannon Miller, the disappointing young girl who leaves here today. Scott Keswick needs a 9.85 to tie, 9.86 to move into second place in the all-around competition here in Orlando today. Karbanyenko of Russia, with a fall off this high bar, has opened the door for Keswick, but he needs to be very good.
He's got to be perfect, Dick. That's all there is to it. He does have some credentials behind him. He made the World Championship finals, but has taken a major release skill out of his exercise. We'll do a combination right here, 2 in a row. Full twist over the bar, right into another release. Right on. The rest of this routine Scott can do just about in his sleep. But when you're talking 9.85 range, you got to stick the landing. Triple back somersault. He does it well. Oh, boy. Well, he certainly doesn't want to take a back seat to anybody.
Young man who told us that when he was 8 years old, he said, my dream, my goal was the Olympic Games. And he said, it's almost scary now. We're only 4.5 months away from Barcelona. And he says, for the first time, I'm highly self-critical. I believe that I'm going to get my chance at some Olympic medal.
Scott spins or rotates as fast as anybody in the world. 3 flips and just the smallest. Watch, he just slides back just a little bit. Really not a deduction with a dismount that difficult.
As we wait for his marks, he also is a winner already today because Scott Keswick's perfect 10 performance in the rings. McDonald's will donate $1,000 to his Olympic training fund, all part of McDonald's helping make Olympic dreams come true. Congratulations to Scott Keswick. It's going to be up to the judges now.
Boy, this is going to be close. You don't want to call it out of here until it is, but he's going to be right on the verge here.
9.85. He ties Karbenyenko. So Jared Hanks of the United States wins. Karbenyenko and Keswick tie for second place. Meanwhile, Kim Zmeskal has won an American Cup championship for the second time, and we have more when we return to Orlando. Take a look at the final results again. Kim Zmeskal for Bela Karolyi. That's the 9th time he's produced a champion of this event, going back to the very first, Nadia Comaneci, when he was the coach in Romania. Hanodi, Miller, and Ristova finished second, third, and fourth in the women's competition. And Jared Hanks has his first major title as an American gymnast. The 22-year-old Oklahoma swimmer. Karbenyenko, the 18-year-old Russian, is second. Keswick ties him for second place. And Luis Lopez of Mexico and University of New Mexico finishes fourth. Kim Zmeskal, Jared Hanks are the champions in 1992. And we'll look forward to those faces just as happy when we go to Barcelona in late July. Right now, let's go to New York and NBC Update.
This Olympic showcase has been brought to you by McDonald's. What you want is what you get at McDonald's today. By Visa, official card and traveler's check of the 1992 Olympic Games. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. And by the Prudential. In a changing world, one thing remains rock solid: the Prudential.
The executive producer of NBC Sports is Terry O'Neill. Today's McDonald's American Cup Gymnastics produced by David Michaels, directed by John Gonzalez. Update show produced by Glenn Adamo. Update show directed by Kelly Atkinson. Technical directors Mitch Geller and Richard Sansevier. Join NBC Sports tomorrow starting at 12:30 Eastern for an NBA doubleheader. First, Michael Jordan leads the world champion Chicago Bulls into the city of brotherly love to face Charles Barkley and the 76ers. Then in Game 2, Isaiah Thomas and the Pistons travel to Los Angeles to face the Lakers. Join Marv Albert, Mike Fratello, and Magic Johnson for that game. All the action kicks off NBA Showtime. Bob Costas and Quinn Buckner tonight on NBC. Golden Girls, don't miss the premiere of a new Norman Lear program, The Powers That Be. Empty Nest and Sisters round out our NBC schedule. This is Dick Enberg. So long from Orlando.